The popularity of true crime stories and their fan base has exploded in recent years, with podcasts like Serial and documentary series like Making a Murderer has seen a resurgence. At their heart, these stories provide us with heroes and anti-heroes that invite us to think, and for some, obsess about their newest passion, the crimes, and the players involved. Now, in an effort to gather all of these fans together at once, New York City is getting a first-of-its-kind true crime festival called Death Becomes Us, where this new audience can come together to celebrate the genre. And in true crime fashion, we're about to present the lineup. Joining us are two of the festival's most inspired players. Damien Echols is known for being one of the West Memphis Three, convicted as a teen of murdering 3 young boys as part of a satanic ritual in 1993. They were later released. And joining him, True Crime Festival creator and director Jennifer Tisdale. And I'd like to welcome Damien and Jen to the program. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
So first, Damien, I just want to start with you because, of course, you are the centerpiece of part of this festival. And I'm not sure if everybody knows your story, so if you could give us sort of a synopsis of the last, 20, 25 years of your life.
I was caught up in what they now call the satanic panic craze that happened in the late 80s, early 90s, where things all across the U.S. were being blamed on this vast satanic underground. Me and 2 other men were convicted of 3 counts of capital murder. They said we had murdered 3 8-year-old boys in Arkansas as part of a satanic ritual. I was sentenced to death 3 times. The other 2 guys one was sentenced to life without parole, and the other one life plus 2 40-year sentences. We would spend almost 20 years in prison, 18 years and 76 days, before we were freed on what they call an Alford plea in 2011 after DNA testing and new eyewitnesses came forth.
And just so we're clear, what is an Alford plea?
An Alford plea, I'd never heard of this thing before we took it in our case. What it means, legally speaking, it means you are accepting a guilty plea while at the same time being legally allowed to maintain your innocence. The entire reason that this exists is so that the state can't be held responsible for what they've done to you. Normally, when someone's falsely convicted for something, they're awarded, on average, something like $1 million for every year that they were imprisoned. If you take an Alford plea, the state does not have to give you anything.
What is it about the world of true crime that's gotten so many people so engaged and so curious and so fascinated?
I think part of it is that we have so much access nowadays via the internet and podcasts, so anyone with an interest in something can put it out into the world any way they want to. But I also think that we've always had an interest in true crime, we just haven't been able to disseminate the information the same way. And I also think, and I don't always like to say this, that people are in general a little morbid and a little curious. True crime is so fascinating because it is it's a little bit like delicious, which sounds creepy, but it's just this thing. And then there is, and the most important part of it is there's victim advocacy and things of that nature.
What is this going to comprise of?
So I refer to it as a festival because I kind of wanted to keep it a little less dry than like a convention. So there's going to still be information. Obviously, you can still get information, but you can also be a little cheeky or have a little fun with it. Like, if you can be properly funny about these terrible, terrible things in a respectful way, that's what I hope to accomplish at the festival, which is like, let's learn and then let's get a little bit weird.
Damien, tell me a little bit about your participation in the festival.
Well, one of the reasons for me taking part in things of this nature is I always think that every single person who hears my story, every single person who becomes familiar with my case, hears me speak, is a potential jury member on another case at some point in their lives, and can possibly help make sure that the same thing that happened to me doesn't happen to someone else in the future. So for me, it really is about reforming the criminal justice system or the prison industrial complex, whatever you want to call it. It's about shining a light on the aspects of that are wrong, especially the cases of people who are poor, minorities that get swept through the cracks and forgotten about. You know, the only difference in my case and so many others was that I was fortunate enough to have cameras in the courtroom that caught the entire thing on film. Most people in this situation are not that fortunate. And you know, we think that it's a rarity when someone gets sentenced to prison that's innocent. But you have groups that are now estimating that as many as 1 out of every 10 people sentenced to death may be innocent. Now, you know, if you had 1 out of every 10 planes crashed, people would demand that something be done to fix the situation. But since most people don't know anyone who are caught up in the criminal justice system, there's not a wide outcry for it to be fixed yet. So any attention brought to that, I think, is helpful.
Do you also think that perhaps sometimes celebrities will get involved with certain cases? They'll become advocates. I'll be honest, I first discovered your case because a documentary was made out of it that aired on HBO, Paradise Lost, and several celebrities from the 90s, particularly musicians, were advocating on your behalf. And that's how it came onto my radar. But I'm wondering how crucial, at least right now, do you see that for people who are trying to get their cases to get the attention that their cases might need to get a second look?
I think it's absolutely crucial. Not just, you know, we had people helping us the entire time I was in prison, you know, Johnny Depp, Eddie Vedder, Henry Rollins, Margaret Cho, the Dixie Chicks. You know, it was just like this endless line of Peter Jackson and Fran Walsh. We would not have been able to mount an adequate defense if not for those people. You know, even things like DNA testing, it's not automatically done by the state for free. We had to pay to have the DNA tested in our case, which came up to something like $200,000. You know, most people in prison have nowhere near that sort of money. So if it wasn't for outside sources who were able to back us up, I would most likely be dead right now.
So, final question for both of you. What is it that you would really want people to take away having attended this festival?
Well, that there are many, many roads to true crime. It's not just about, you know, listening to, you know, 8,000 episodes of a podcast about serial killers, though I have also done that. I think it's good to remind people of the victims and the things, again, that Damien is talking about, that you can do to kind of change the criminal justice system, hopefully, because it is incredibly and alarmingly flawed. Beyond, you know, hearing an interesting story, you're gonna maybe learn how to make some real changes if you want to.
All right, Damien, the last word?
And I would say just that the system is not as impartial as most people would be led to believe. You know, you have a lot of innocent people in prison on death row, and to not automatically assume that just because you see someone on TV being charged with a crime, that they're automatically guilty of something.
I want to thank you both for joining us. Damien, for continuing to share your story with the world. It's incredibly compelling and I think important. And the festival, I mean,
it's a festival,
it is
right?
something for people to go out and visit. So thank you both for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
The True Crime Festival, Death Becomes Us, runs March 20th through the 24th. For ticket information, visit our website at metrofocus.org.